Tonight, fresh warnings we could be heading for a recession.
More Australians are being pushed into financial hardship for the first time off the back of bruising interest rate hikes.
But household spending barely rose as people cut back on luxuries like dining out to cover the rising cost of essentials.
Are you ashamed of being called a miser? A tight ass? Well, then definitely this video is for you. Okay, the good news is you are not alone. You can definitely count me in, and there are many more who are just hiding in the closet. Whatever you want to call them, skinflint, cheapskate, or the worst of all, hoarder, definitely this trend will continue to grow. Never a time in my life I was so sure of the necessity of being a penny pincher. More and more technological innovations will come, and these technological innovations will come at the expense of more and more layoffs. In a recent article published in Guardian, one very prominent job site known as Seek.com reported of significant reduction in job advertisements amid Australian recession fears. It says revenue derived from Seek's Australian and New Zealand operations dropped 8% to 840 million over the financial year as ad volumes fell 20%. Now, these numbers are not to be taken very seriously. Okay, these numbers are not just all about doom and gloom. There are many different channels through which companies recruit. Say for instance referrals, social media engagement, etc., etc. However, the bottom line is global job trend is shifting, and it is not a very exciting news for prospective employees. And also the fact that we live in a very globalized world. Freelancing, outsourcing jobs to cheaper alternatives is going to grow bigger day by day. And also companies are practicing more caution because of major global events such as wars or potential to severe escalations. All of these factors, no matter how tiny or huge, will eventually impact the job prospects. So these global events, such as wars for instance, have always been part of our recent memory. And job fluctuations for wars alone may not be that alarming. But my biggest worry is AI, artificial intelligence. Sooner or later, many of the jobs, low-skilled, repetitive jobs, will ultimately be replaced by this AI, will ultimately be gone. Now, obviously, you can upgrade your skills, which everybody has to do at some point. But that alone may not help with the rising inflation, price hikes, and of course layoffs in the low-skilled and unskilled areas, where repetitive task is being performed, which will eventually be taken over by AI. So in my humble opinion, one of the most viable alternatives is to tightening up your own purse string to spend or learn how to spend less. So today I'm gonna share my top picks. So without further ado, let's dive in. Now, before I get into the details, I want to touch base regarding some very basic stuff. Mindset. See, there is no such a thing as a free lunch. Something for nothing doesn't exist. So all the tips that I'm going to share will come at the expense of your convenience. This is something I want to get out of the way at the very beginning so that you don't get confused down the line. Now, there are three main areas we are going to focus: housing, food, and clothing, the essentials. You need to have a roof over your head. That's the most basic necessity, right? Once you have that sorted out, next we're going to look how can you put food on your table and clothing on your back. Now, the first question is, do you own a house? And if you do, then do you actually need it? Let's assume that you actually need it. In that case, the next question is, do you have a mortgage on that house? Are you paying too bigger of a loan? If that is the case, then the first step, and this is the most basic thing that you should do, is to shop around to find a better deal, or at least go to a mortgage broker who can help you finding a better deal. Again, this is the most basic step that you should take. Now, let's assume that you don't actually need the house. In that case, what can you do? With the rental prices going through the roof, this house can be a very good income source for you. Okay? If you can find a cheaper rental, if the difference is, let's say, $200, the money that you are spending to maintain this house, in contrast to the rentals that you are considering, let's say the difference is about $200. In that case, you should definitely move into the cheaper rental and put this house into the market. In that way, you will have a very consistent earning, which will help you into doing the things that you want to do. Now, talking about debt in general, okay, I want to share 2 tips. Now look, I am not a financial expert, okay? I am not qualified to give you professional advice. If you need professional advice, you should talk to a financial professional. Alrighty? But having said that, in my humble opinion, debt is one of the most powerful tools to build wealth. One of the most powerful, if not the most powerful tool that is out there. So, if for instance, let's say that you have a home loan, do you have a offset account attached to that home loan? Now, I am not actually updated about the current market situation. I am not familiar with all the different lenders currently available in the market. But if you have a home loan and if you don't have an offset account, you must have an offset account. But what it does basically is this: it reduces your interest payment. Let's say, for instance, the loan amount, the amount that you borrowed is $500,000. And let's say that you are paying interest rate of about 9% per annum. So what offset account does is this: if you have, let's say, $50,000 for your regular expense, that will offset the balance of that loan. Although you have $500,000, you will pay interest on $450,000 because you have a $50,000 in your pocket. These are the pocket money that you can spend the way you like, and at the same time, this pocket money is going to offset the balance of that loan. Okay, you will pay interest of 9% or whatever interest rate you are paying only on the remainder of the balance, that is $450,000, not $500,000, although that is the amount you borrowed. So this is how you can drastically reduce your interest payment. Okay, that's the purpose of having an offset account if you do have a home loan. The next thing I want to touch base is this. Let's say, for instance, you have a car loan. Okay, now I made a separate video, how can you actually save money while purchasing a new car, no weighted lease, where I discuss like pretty much all the different components of no weighted lease, whether it's interest payment, on-road cost, running cost, all the calculations that are associated with purchasing a vehicle via no weighted lease. You're more than welcome to check out that video. But the point that I'm trying to make is this: are you using a credit card while using the debt? Let's say that you borrowed the car for $50,000. Instead of blowing up your hard-earned cash, what you can do is this: you can transfer the debt into a credit card. Okay, depending on the terms and conditions, obviously, you can pay absolutely no interest for another 12 to 24 months. You're going to pay only the principal amount. Okay, for up to 12 to 24 months, again, depending on the terms and conditions of that credit card. And at the end of the term, what you can do, rinse and repeat. You can transfer the remainder of that balance, whatever you paid off within these 12 to 24 months, then the remainder of the balance you can transfer it to a new credit card, again, pay again no interest for another 12 to 24 months. So this is how you can save pretty much all the interest payment while at the same time keeping your money, if you have a loan, of course, in the offset account, while reducing the interest payment for your other loans that you might have. Or you can just, it can be as an emergency fund as well. You're keeping your money to yourself. You are not giving it to a bank or anyone else. So you can have an emergency fund. If you need the money, you can access the money at your disposal. So this is how debt can be a very powerful tool, while it can save you a lot of money which you would otherwise be spending paying for the interest. Okay, again, if you don't have an offset account, you should have one depending on the current market conditions. And if you don't have a credit card, you should have one. But the bottom line, the important information that you should keep in mind, credit is like a loaded gun. You can fire at pretty much anything. You can go on a shopping spree. It requires a lot of discipline. Once you have the discipline, debt can be an extremely powerful tool for saving you big money. Alrighty. So if you are not using debt, if you are not using credit, give it a try. That would be my advice. Again, I'm not qualified to give you professional advice, but if I were you, I would be using credit left and right. Now, next on our list is food. Okay. Now, one of the most important things, if you are into saving money, that you must do is to cook meal at home. Like, there is absolutely no alternative. At this point in time, there is no alternative to cooking meals at home if you want to save money. Because if you want to go out into a restaurant for your meal, you are looking at least $30 to $50 per meal, which will not help you at all if you want to live on the budget. Now, I buy a lot of stuff from Woolworths. Okay. Now, the reason I buy this stuff from Woolworths is because of my proximity. I live next door to an Woolworth. So it does not necessarily, in your case, it doesn't necessarily has to be a Woolworth. It can be a Coles or any other super shop that you are close by. So what I do is this. At the end of the day, when I go for my evening walk, I pay a visit to my local Woolies. Okay. Always there will be some items that are on special. Okay. These items are actually marked with a yellow tag. They are close to the sell by date. Best before, let's say, is 2 days date. So what they're going to do at the end of the day, they're going to mark it down about 50 to 60% of the original price. So these items are actually a great bargain in most of the cases. Then of course there are items which I normally don't buy from the Woolies. Now for the fish, I actually buy it from outside. Okay, like I live in Sydney and there is a place called Flemington where you can buy fish at wholesale pricing, which is I believe $5-6 cheaper than the regular market price. But the only problem is you have to go on Friday, Saturdays and Sundays. These are the 3 days those shops actually operate, the shops that sell fish. And there is yet another place, it's called Piedmont. Okay, if you live in the CBD, like I'm talking about in terms of Sydney. If you live in the CBD, then there is another place, the fish market, which is situated in Piedmont. If you go there, parking can be a little bit tricky, but there is light rails. And if you go there again, it's not as cheap as Flemington, but still quite cheap compared to the regular pricing in the shops. So these are the two places that I normally buy fish from. But other than that, like the meat, the other day, like for instance, I bought a big chunk of shoulder lamb, which was originally priced, I believe, for $30 or something, and I bought it for about $17-18, like $10-12 cheaper than the actual price. You can definitely buy different types of meat, whether it's pork, beef, lamb, whatever you eat. You can buy pastries, you can buy bread, you can buy vegetables most of the time. A lot of vegetables, like these are perishables, they have to put it on special. So you can buy these items at a very discounted price. The only problem with meat, like if it, for whatever reason, if I cannot cook it within, let's say, 2 days, that has to go into the bin. Like after 48 hours, by no means that I'm going to cook it. I'm going to put it into the pan. Like no way. But most of the time, if I get the meat, if I'm not cooking it the same night, definitely I'm going to cook it the next morning. So the only drawback is that because these are close to the sell by date, you have to cook it ASAP. Okay, the next day is probably the latest you should wait until you can safely consume it. So these are the things that you can definitely buy from your local Woolies at a very discounted price. And the other thing I want to point out is the payment, that when you make your purchase, how do you pay? I pay most of the time using gift cards. And there are different types of websites, apps, whatever you want to call them. So there are different types of apps. Let's say, for instance, Shopback. Okay, it's an app. You got cash rewards, you got top cashback. Like these are the couple of websites where you can buy gift cards, again at a discounted price. Not a huge discount, let's say 5%. So what they usually do, let's say that you are buying a Woolies gift card. Okay, Wish gift card, I believe it is called, or supermarket gift card, whatever it is. So if you jump on to Shopback, if you jump onto the app, they will give you, let's say, $10 bonus for spending, let's say, $200. So in a sense, they are giving you 5% discount for your purchase of a gift card. And then you can use these gift cards to make your purchase at your local Woolies. And there are some other things that, like most of the time, these are the things that I use like every now and then. You got CommBank Yellow, like different types of banks. They have their own reward programs. CommBank Yellow. You got a reward program for Westpac. You got St. George, Bank of Melbourne. Like these are the different types of reward programs through which, if you use the debit card, let's say that CommBank Yellow, you have a CommBank account, and if you use the debit card, okay, every now and then you will see offers like spend $100, for instance, in Coles, and in return, you will get $15 cashback. I'm just giving you an example. So every now and then, with these different types of bank cards that I have, I get these offers. And when I get these offers, I then go into that particular store, that particular super shop, and I make my purchase using the debit card, the card that is linked to that offer. Okay, so you can use those things to, again, it's not going to be a huge discount. It's not going to be a huge saving, but every little bit counts. If you pile up, if you compile the whole thing, I can tell you that at least it will be $200-300 over 365 days, over a year. You are looking at least a couple of $100, because all the groceries and everything I buy with gift cards. So this is how you can buy food and you can spend less, still enjoying quality food. All right, so now let's talk about clothing on your back. Okay, clothing. Now, see, although I'm lecturing about penny pinching, but guess who I am? I am one of the biggest sinners when it comes to online shopping, right? Nowadays, there are lots of deals, there are lots of specials like this sale, that sale, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Day, whatever it is. Out of 365 days, there are probably like twice that many sales going on all around the year. So you are sitting at home, all these email marketing that are coming into your inbox, and every now and then I end up spending a lot of money buying different types of clothes. Like I got a closet kind of clogged up. All the clothing, I got like 50-20 different pairs of shoes. Insane, isn't it? I blame myself, but what can you do? Like the visceral reaction, like you get these emails, you get this special coupon code that I can't resist the temptation of buying a new item every now and then. Anyway, so when it comes to clothing, like for the shoes, I buy the most expensive one. Again, you get some discount and you are buying at a sale. It's not really a sale, just to get you hooked into buying, but most of the time the shoes that I buy that are actually quite expensive. Okay, so how do you look after these shoes? Shoe stretcher. Inside these leather shoes, you put a shoe stretcher. Okay, if you use that leather like when moisture, like as you walk, there is moisture that comes out of your feet, it can damage the leather, right? The leather can get like there can be fungus or whatever, it can grow. So to keep the leather good, in a good condition, you should put a shoe stretcher as soon as you take that shoe out of your feet. That way the moisture goes away pretty fast and the leather stays healthy for many years. Like I got a couple of shoes that I've been using for 5 years, 6 years without any issue whatsoever. And for the clothing, okay, although like I buy a lot of clothing, guess what I don't do? I do not wash. If you wash, the fabric is damaged. Every time you put in the washing machine, that clothing, that fabric is damaged. So what I do is this. I put a $5 t-shirt. My top garment is at the top. The most expensive one is at the top. And underneath, let's say that I'm wearing a shirt. That shirt it cost me about $100, $150, whatever it is. But if I put a t-shirt, which is, like I buy 10, 50 t-shirts, not 50. I buy 5, 10 of these t-shirts for like $5 each. Okay. So I put one of those t-shirts, a $5 t-shirt, and on top, I put my $100 shirt. And I do not wash this shirt for at least a couple of months. I change the t-shirt that I'm wearing inside. That will be washed every day. But not the $100 shirt, let alone the jacket. Jacket, I probably wash it once a season. Not even a month. Once a season, at the end of the season, I will probably dry clean all of these, like the jackets. But other than that, no washing at all. Now, how do you feel about alterations? Personally, I think it's a great idea. Now look, ideally, I shouldn't be buying this clothing every now and then in the first place because we are trying to save money, not waste it, right? But some habits are very difficult to control, and that's how I end up buying these clothings, these new items, every now and then. But when I do end up buying these items, I will definitely go for the items that are of higher quality. Now, of course, I would like to buy it as cheap as possible, but quality is not negotiable. Because if you enjoy wearing a particular piece of clothing, if that is of higher quality, you can use it for as long as you wish. Let's say, for instance, the hoodie that I am wearing, 10 years. I have been using this hoodie for the last 10 years. So minor alterations can go a very long way. But now, let's say that you don't want to use this piece of clothing for the next 10 years. In that case, you can definitely donate this clothing. You can give this clothing a second life and someone else can use it. Because these are of higher quality items, they can still last for at least a few more years. So this is an environmentally friendly practice. You are consuming less. And at the same time, you are wearing that particular piece of clothing that you enjoy wearing. Because it's of higher quality, you can keep using these items for as long as you wish. So if you are not already reusing the piece of clothing that you enjoy wearing, then alterations can be one of the ways that you can do that. So for me, a big thumbs up, yes, for the alterations. Okay. You should definitely give this a second thought. So this is how you look after your clothing, and of course you should buy the clothing that are high end. Not the like, if it is inside, that can be whatever you buy, not a big concern. It's very cheap. But the top garment, I would always go for the top brand, and I will always buy a little bit more standard ones. Okay, that would be my advice for clothing. And again, as I said, do not wash it. Like, that's big no for washing. And that's all about clothing. And finally, now let's talk about mindset. Okay, now see, when I started this video, I asked at the very beginning, I asked this question: do you feel ashamed of being called a miser? Okay, let's see, it is about mindset. How do you feel about other people judging you? If you look rich, you are judged in one way. And if you look poor, of course, you're gonna be judged in a different way. How do you feel about it? Do you feel ashamed or do you feel like okay? Now see, what I found out, like, there are lots of things I learned about finance over the last couple of years. Again, it's not that I have a degree or I'm qualified to talk about these things, but these are my personal experiences. Looking rich comes at a very hefty cost. If you want to look rich, you have to give up your dreams for many, many years. It's gonna put you off track. It's gonna put you off track by many, many years. So now let's talk about one other issue about mindset. Now, I actually came across this idea from a book. Dr. Daniel Kahneman, one of my intellectual masters, he wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. He's a behavioral economist, he's a Nobel laureate. And one of these analogies that I still remember after reading this book for God knows how long ago, at least 10, 12 years. So the idea is this: let's assume that you are given 2 tickets. Let's assume that you are going to see a concert. Okay. And there are 2 tickets, one for you and one for your buddy. First, consider that you bought those tickets yourself. 2 tickets you purchased yourself using your own money. Now, let's assume that someone else, one of your buddies, is not going to make it to the concert, and that's why he gave it to you. That, look, I'm not going there, so you take my tickets. And in the same evening, let's say that there's a thunderstorm being forecasted. Will you still go to the concert? Dr. Daniel Kahneman suggests that if you have purchased those tickets yourself, you're most likely to brave the blizzard. If you are given the money by someone else, if you're given those tickets by someone else, you're probably not going to take the risk. But because you bought those tickets yourself, most likely that you will brave the blizzard. You will take the chance, you will take the risk of driving into this thunderstorm. It is called mental accounting. We have different types of mental accounts attached to the same money. Money is fungible, interchangeable. It doesn't matter where it originated. Whether you got a gift card from your company or you purchased that gift card yourself, it doesn't really matter. But how you think about it, it matters. Let's say that you did something good in your company and your company gave you a gift voucher. Okay, a prepaid Visa, for instance, $200 preloaded Visa card. How are you going to use this card? Again, you can go and buy those yellow tagged, the special items that we just discussed about. Or you can go to have a 5-star dinner. Okay, choice is yours. But guess what? The money is also yours too. Money is fungible. You could have used the same Visa card to buy those special items and save on your grocery bills. But now, because you got the gift card from your company, guess how you're going to blow it up? You'll probably go into a fancy restaurant and spend the money in one sitting. Okay, most of the people that win a gamble, win a jackpot, guess how they spend the money? When they play the gamble, when they go into, let's say that you go to the casino and you're playing on a machine, you are losing. Most of the money is your hard-earned money. But when you win, guess how you spend it? When you are spending on the machines, that's your hard-earned money. You had to toil day after day to earn that money. But now, some of that loss has came back as winning. How are you going to use it? How are you going to spend it? Most of the time, you'll probably blow it up. So this is mental accounting. Are you suffering from mental accounting? See, we are talking about penny pinching. Pinching pennies. The stuff that we discussed. If you do it all over the year, out of 365 days, if you follow every single thing that I mentioned, how much do you reckon you will save? At the very best, $1,000. At the very best. If you buy discounted fuel, if you buy discounted groceries, if you look after your clothing, if you pay less interest, whatever, how much will you save in combination? Like if you combine all of these different tactics that we have been talking about, will it be more than $2,000? I don't think so. You are pinching penny. But if you have a mentality to show off, let's say for instance, you are buying a brand new car, right? To impress your friends. Tens of thousands, you are looking at tens of thousands. What the heck are you going to do by saving a couple of hundreds here and there? If you're blowing up in tens of thousands, okay, how much are you going to save? What the heck are you going to do by saving a couple of pennies here and there? So the bottom line, the point that I'm trying to make, these are the things that we discussed. This should be practiced once you have a already highly disciplined structure in place. If you're already doing those things right, if you're already practicing the issues that come along with a faulty mindset. If you are acting out of your impulse, this is not for you. You have to fix those impulses first. The mental stuff, you have to fix those ones first. These little tips, they will come next. These are for pinching pennies, not for saving tens of thousands. Tens of thousands you can save only when you have a good mindset. Okay. So if you have an issue of impressing other people, if you have an issue to justify yourself to others, to show off, then these tips will not help you at all. You have to fix those things first and then practice these things so that you can fine-tune your savings, so that you can reach your target much, much faster. So I hope you enjoyed. If that is the case, give it a like, spread the message, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.